What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Talkin Jake with myself and the Beebs. And I think we're going to talk a little young starting pitching today. We just did Talkin Baseball. We did our Cy Young draft, which seems like an annual episode. And it's fun. Because pitchers are brutal, to be honest. Picking between them, my normal lame comparison is picking flavors of ice cream. They kind of have the same effect when they're good, to pick between a chocolate chip cookie dough and a good cookies and cream. I don't know. You know, it's whatever you're in the mood for that night. So I want to go a slightly different angle with it because I noticed something. A lot of the really good starting pitchers aged up. Okay, that sounds good, Jake. A lot of them are 27 and up, I should say. A lot of the young, like the guys you picture as good young starting pitchers, a lot of them kind of took the step into like, I don't want to say you're not young anymore, because in the game of life you're young, but in the game of baseball and who they are, they're not young anymore. Sandy Alcantara.
Not a baby.
27. Dylan Cease, 27. Zach Gallen, 27. Joe Ryan, his age 26 year was last year. And that's funny perspective because, you know, last year was his first year. So it's one of those things that, like, I don't know, if a young guy can get called up at 26 and get their first shot, that a lot of these good young starting pitchers, a lot of them just kind of grew up in a class. And I know, you know, a guy that we've talked a lot of in Yankee world, Clark Schmidt, you know, he's actually 27 now, and he's going to get his first actual chance at the rotation. So, baseball can be a funny sport in that way sometimes. So I wanted to look at, with that class kind of graduating, age 26 and under, I think me and Beebs kind of want to land on a consensus. Top 5, you're already a guy, you've earned your keep, you are the dude. And then kind of the 5 guys who are next of that crew. And, you know, we'll see who gets mentioned in that class, and that's probably going to make more people mad than happy because, I don't know, I know Trev mentioned Hunter Brown going away at the end of our Cy Young episode for the Houston Astros. And could he be? Because he did have 20 innings pitched last year to a 0.89 ERA. But he hasn't fully been proven yet. So I think we first land on the bona fide guys who 26 and under. If you had to make a starting 5, the top 5 dudes, who are you going with? And I think there's a couple layups, or at least let's put them down as layups, and we'll see if we have to edit them, Beebs. But the first one, and we'll see if he ends up being the number 1 guy on this. I mentioned him to you before we start going, and the AMP crew that's here. Tune in on AMP. I think it's Julio Urias. He's done it for a few years now. It's crazy how young he still is. He's 26. He turns 27 in August, so he's still good for this. He has started over 100 games. He has a career 2.82 ERA.
Sheesh.
He led the National League in ERA last year, 2.16. He led an ERA plus 194. He finished 3rd in the Cy Young. Like, he's kind of my perfect example of there's some young pitchers that are going to get their first opportunity this year and be 25, 26. He finished 3rd in the Cy Young last year. Like, Julio Urias is going to be good. That I think there's no argument that he shouldn't be on the list.
We'll find out in this exercise where he is in our top 5, but I think he's pretty firmly on the list.
So let's start with him. The other names. So I think the other guy who, after his past 2 seasons, has earned to be on this list, the guy who finished 6th in the Cy Young last year, would be Shane McClanahan. for the Rays. Let's put him on there for now. I don't think anyone is going to compete with him. Excuse me. I think people can compete with him. I don't think anyone would knock him off the list.
Yeah, I think similar boat. We'll see exactly where he is within this top 5, but I'm confident he's going to land there.
And again, part of what led me into this exercise, and I'm looking at the young pitchers from the last couple years. So right now I'm looking at last year's Cy Young vote. So I mentioned Dylan Cease, he's turned 27, so he would be out of this exercise. The next guy after I'm going to skip for now because I think he might end up on the list. But I just think it's fun. A couple of guys that you picture as youngish pitchers, like in Framber, I was just doing Framber's young, right? Kind of. He's 29. Max Fried is 29. So I just think we mentally have this group of young pitchers that have now graduated and become just like adult pitchers. Like we have the old men. We know JV. We know Mad Max. But I think there's a crop of young pitchers that have kind of grown up. Shane Bieber is 27.
Wow.
He turns 28 this year. Although he has a teammate that could potentially end up on this list. Even Aaron Nola's 29. He was at one point he was a young guy.
Sexy young arm.
And he's not anymore. I mentioned Zach Gallen. He's in the 27 club. Max Fried is 29, which surprised me. Corbin Burns is 28.
They just graduated from this group.
You're kind of not a kid anymore. And this is another great example, Kyle Wright, who broke out last year, 21-5. My joke was he's 1998 Cy Young winner. He is 27 years old, but he didn't really get his first full run until last year. So, in a way, he is one of baseball's best young pitchers, but in a way, he's also not as young as some of these other guys. So, with all that being said, I think we put names down and then we start sorting out. So here are some of the names from last year that I think deserve to be discussed. Spencer Strider. Last year was his age 23 season. And he fully broke out. So that's just kind of an interesting conversation because the other side of this list, I want to do the top 5 potential guys. Does he deserve to be over there?
Or is it one more good year?
Or did he do enough? Does it? Did he do enough to be on the other side of the list? I don't know. Alek Manoah now has a couple years under his belt and has been really good.
His argument to be firmly on the list is probably better.
Is really strong. Christian Javier fully broke out last year. I may or may not have taken him in my Cy Young draft. You'll have to listen to that. Tristan McKenzie, who we like a lot, had a monster year last year. Let's see, who else is on here? Logan Gilbert and George Kirby from your Seattle Mariners both deserve a shout out. And they almost have a little weird West Coast of do we cancel each other out? I wonder, gun to Mariners heads, what do they think? I guess pop off in the comments, Mariners. Or you know what? I'm going to tweet it out right now. How do I phrase it? Mariners/baseball fans. If you had to pick one, who are you taking? I'll do a poll. Why not?
Yeah.
Logan Gilbert, George Kirby. I mean, this is the type of stuff that makes it to Mariners Reddit, right?
Gotta be. Back-to-back first-round picks.
Should I make it a day-long poll?
Yeah.
Why not?
It's the standard length, I feel.
That'll get people rowdy. I wonder if Kyle sees that. That'll get him rowdy. Okay, so both of them are down. Who else needs to be mentioned? I think Hunter Green gets to the second part of the list. How about this one, BBD? 26, Logan Webb. Logan Webb's already done it. I mean, back-to-back years.
Back-to-back years, including some postseason.
That deserves some credit. It's going to be tough to leave him off the list. Logan Webb. You know who's good and young, but I don't even think with the other guys mentioned he's going to be able to enter this list. Luis Garcia of Houston.
Really?
He's 26. Patrick Sandoval deserves a shout-out.
Kind of just always.
2.91 ERA last year, coming off of a 3.62 the year before. He just shoved for Team Mexico against the USA. I'm going to put his name down. I'm not sure where it lands. Patrick Sandoval. And let's see who else I'm missing as bona fide. Brady Singer's an interesting case of things and stuff. I don't know what you do with him.
He feels like a candidate for our second list.
Yeah, and that gets tricky because I think he's 26 this year. He is. So that's where the timeline might get to him a little bit. Nick Lodolo is an interesting case of things and stuff. Yeah, I mean, I think for guys that you can stamp and if they're healthy, they're going to have a good season. I think we named all the guys. So let's get back in.
I think you're right.
Urias and McClanahan, there's no argument. Spencer Strider. He was so good last year. You know what it is, man? I mean, you can't tell me he's going to be bad. You know?
Not going to be bad.
He had a 1.83 FIP. What is that? He struck out 202 guys in 131 innings. You need the bona fide season. I think he's got to be on there. To say you're still waiting for him to, go, he did it.
I guess it's a question of is one season enough?
I'm going to put him down. I'm going to put him in the starting five and see how I feel about it. Does he spells Spencer with a C, right?
Yeah, he's got the normal spelling.
That is the normal spelling. Who spells it with an S?
I think Watkins.
Spencer Watkins. Nice. My guy.
And I think if we're putting Strider on,
right.
I don't know if you could have him on and not also have Manoah and Webb. They both have just done more. And
I think I
at
agree.
Least just as well.
Alek Manoah. Okay. So where would that currently get us? That would
be our 5.
So who's on the outside looking in right now? The 4 names I have are Christian Javier, who was really good at the end of last year.
Mm-hmm. He can take over games.
Tristan McKenzie, who had a 2.96 over 30 starts last year. He had a nice cup of coffee in the 2020 funky season, 6 starts. He kind of had a tough 21, and then he was great last year, 191 innings. Okay. I'm letting Mariner fans attack our Logan Gilbert, George Kirby question because I can't speak well enough on it. Patrick Sandoval, you're kind of getting angeled here. Just got to be honest. I think I believe in him, but do I believe in him over Urias or McClanahan? No. Strider, no. He's the only still half tricky one. Manoah, if I'm being completely honest, but we don't say this because we're Yankee fans, he's got a serious chance of regression this year. But God, he's been so good.
Yeah.
Even if he regresses a little bit, he had a 2.24 last year.
I think a lot of guys would regress from that point.
It's almost the only way to go. He finished third in the Cy last year. And you know, Jimmy keeps phrasing it as like, he's just what you like from your starting pitcher. And I don't know if this is it, and we've done this before. Back-to-back years led the AL in hit by pitches.
Yeah, I just saw that.
That's
Go
feels
for the
like some
three-peat.
old school ace stuff. God. Christian Javier. Let's look at some stats. Christian Javier last year, 30 starts, a 2.54 ERA, crazy strikeout total over 148. 100 innings the year before, a 3.55. Over 162 game season, would you rather have, going into this year, would you rather have Logan Webb or Christian Javier?
Logan Webb or Christian Javier. For this year, I'm coming from a place of being pretty high on Javier.
It feels like Javier's ceiling is higher, but Webb,
And they both have playoff
right?
like full games on
Yeah.
on their resumes, so I can't lean on that for one guy and say the other hasn't done it. They both are in this young category.
Webb was 2.9 last year. He was 3.03 the year before. 192 innings. I guess like innings and performance all in, I think Webb is the safer bet.
I think so. Like
Javier
after this
could be a
year,
lot
that can be over. This is
right. I mean,
that and credit to what the Astros have built and have had as far as pitching the last few years. This is going to be the first time he's like firmly in their rotation.
yeah. Javier's like unhittable. That's tough, man.
That dude's a walk-in no-hitter into the sixth.
Piss off Giants fans. Because here's what I'll tell you. If this was a fantasy draft, I was doing an MLB The Show fantasy draft, I'd take Javier over Webb.
Yeah.
I think that's just honest. So what does that mean?
Is that just a vibes thing?
If I change the rules mid-draft and I take out the 26-year-olds, that would take out Logan Webb. Dead. That would take out Javier. So that debate would be over. Manoah's still fine. Is it a 25 and under? Did I just make a new rule? And that also kicks out Sandoval.
Wow.
So where does that get me? So let's kick out Logan Webb. Dead.
Take some stock in it.
Javier. Dead. Sandoval. Dead. Does that take out McClanahan? Because then we might be too far into this exercise to do that. Because he's really good. Shane Mc... I always spell his name wrong. No, he's 25. He turns 26.
Soon.
So I guess 25 and under to start the season. I don't hate that, if I'm being completely honest. Because that leaves McClanahan, Strider, Manoah. Urias is still good, right?
Gotta be.
Oh, he's 26.
Oh, he is.
I want to keep the exercise. You're 26, you're still young. You're 26, you're still one. So you got to make a difficult decision. If I'm being honest, I'm a Javier over Webb. It doesn't, part of it feels dirty, but It's just, I mean, you get Houston bonus points. They know what they're doing. If Patrick Sandoval had a 4 ERA, I think a lot of us would be like, that
was going to happen.
Angels, regression. Javier feels like the light switch went out, and he's just unhittable. Webb, I think there's days when Webb can be hittable. Is there an argument for Tristan McKenzie over any of these guys? There should be, but over these guys is really tricky. I don't think there is. Let's see the
That's not an insult.
Let's see the early results of my Mariners poll.
It was very close when I looked.
Man. Okay, so there's a lot of the kids are, I guess, foolish baseball has been in the mix and not a big Gilbert guy. It's currently 51.3% Kirby, 48.7% Logan Gilbert. And that's 536 votes in the past minute or whatever that we've done this. Okay, you know what we'll do? We're just starting a trend of Mariners asterisks. Gilbert and Kirby tied for 6. Tristan McKenzie. That one hurts. I mean, there's a personal side that we met him and he's badass. In a way, he's only done it for 1 year.
Yeah.
That if and when he does it again, that changes things. He's 25. From Brooklyn, he's a dude. I think if you're being honest.
He's just not above these guys yet.
Man, Logan Webb. Strider's still his own wrinkle that's throwing me off, but you can't put Strider in like the potential list. He's good. He's good. Urias, McClanahan, Strider, Manoah, Javier. I mean, with...
yeah, the Mariners guys above Webb.
No. Webb's done it for 2 full seasons, and like you keep mentioning with the playoffs, like he did it in the playoffs. Javier's getting so many Houston points, but he plays for Houston. It's just a
fact. Can't punish him for that.
It's just a fact on it. I think that's the list. I think it's Urias, McClanahan, Strider, Manoah, Javier. The Gilbert Kirby thing is now funny for me, so I'm fine with that. McKenzie and Webb hurt the most. All right, so the second part of this exercise is supposed to be the guys that should join this list next year, or have the best potential to join the list next year. The classic Who's Next.
It sounds like Tristan's on our list.
Ooh. God, that's interesting, right? Because I already think he's good.
1 more year as him bona fide.
Shit. Because where I want to start is kind of with the Cincinnati Reds, because I think Hunter Green and Lodolo are like next.
They good.
Like that's kind of the... Like I don't want the second 5 to be a list of like the guys who just missed. Like I don't think the second 5 should be Sandoval, Tristan.
Yeah.
Like I think those guys just missed the top 5 starting pitchers under 26 and under. But I don't think they should be on the next list. Like when we do the exercise next year. Like they're already good.
Yeah.
So I want to put some names down and see where it lands again. I want to put Hunter Green, believe in him. Nick Lodolo. I mean, in a way, I think I'm just going to write them down because if Grayson Rodriguez... Who's the freak show for the Marlins? Yuri Perez?
Yes.
You know, you'd have to show a lot. Because, I mean, I think for the Marlins, you could also put Jesus Luzardo. I think you could put, what's his name? Edward Cabrera. He had a nice showing for a young pitcher.
Trevor Rogers, still 25.
Trevor Rogers, still 25, took a little baby step back. Josiah Gray, no, he kind of got hit. I don't think Brady Singer counts. Reed Detmers. Man, 22-year-old Reed Detmers, 25 starts, a 3.77, and Nate Steele says his stuff is ticking up. Like, I think that's on the list.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if Reed Detmers takes a step up from that, we say he's one of the best young pitchers in baseball. First round pick.
Yeah.
Second season, got better. So I like that. Remember all those Tigers guys that everyone was into? And then
just...
I guess Scooball had a nice year, but...
got hurt, I believe.
Yeah.
Ian Mize.
Reed Detmers. What's going on with Grayson Rodriguez? Are they gonna pitch him?
Be on the team.
His learning experience.
I think so. He's 23.
I don't know what his deal is. I might tap out on him for now.
Gotta see him pitch an inning.
Kind of have to, right? Like that feels fair to see the guy pitch inning.
Service time is 0.
Kenzie Gore is young. Graham Ashcraft is also on the Reds.
Huh.
Matt Brash. I've got something for you.
Okay.
So I know Logan Gilbert, 4.68, 24 starts, kind of rookie growing pains a little bit while being good. Comes out the next year, 3.2, 32 starts, $185 innings. Could George Kirby be on the next list? Could that be the difference? Because last year was his first. 25 starts, a 3.39. That might be a nice way to cover the butt a little bit. Like if he comes out and has a similar year or better, George Kirby's one of the best young pitchers in baseball. How different is him and Spencer Strider's year? It's a lot different, dude. Strider was nuts. Strider's more than double WAR. I know WAR's not everything, but the 202 strikeouts to 133. I think I'm going to do that. I think there's a clear difference there in my head. Like I think Strider's already respected as one of the best young pitchers in baseball. I don't know if Kirby is. He's splitting the vote with Gilbert. Okay, so I might do that. That might be a nice little cheat code for me.
Nice.
George Kirby will still piss off Mariners fans, and that's obvious.
That's what we do.
Luzardo, Detmers. Is there anyone else you can think of? I know this isn't the easiest exercise to hunt down.
Luzardo, Detmers, Kirby.
Rowanzi Contreras, if he has a big year, people will talk about him. Shane Baz is out of the picture. Kyle Mueller going to Oakland. Let's see if he's got anything.
If Rowanzi's like a stud,
he would.
It would have to be very, very good,
right.
But if he's just good, I don't think he's there yet.
Dustin May is going to be 25 this year. That's interesting to look at.
Yeah, health.
Start getting some of the relievers aren't in the mix. Man, Doval and Duran are both 24 last year.
Really?
He's
young.
Here's what I think I'm going to do. Because I think if I counted right, I've got 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've got 5 that I think are deserving. I think I would list it as George Kirby, now that I've made him eligible. I think it would be Hunter Green. I think I'd do him and Nick Lodolo back-to-back just because that's fun. I think it's Jesus Luzardo. And I think it's Reed Detmers. And I think that's my 5. Grayson and Yuri, I don't know their full opportunity, and they could... You can have a rookie year that's like, whatever. Logan Gilbert had a rookie year that was kind of Tristan McKenzie's second year was kind of Nate Steele, Tanner Houck, to prove you don't hate the Red Sox. No. I think Houck's going to be like a bullpen. He's a bullpen guy.
That does seem to work.
The 2 pitches are nasty. I mean, there's almost too many options on Daddy's D-backs. And there's going to be so many guys that get the opportunity this year and fully do it.
Just had a little bit of a fear that, like, have we just ignored Zach Gallen? He is 27.
Yeah, he's part of that 27.
He's just exited this.
I'll do one last hunt. Yeah, the top 10 MLB right-handed pitching prospects. Andrew Painter, who I think when it happens, it's going to happen, but he just got banged up. We'll see him when we see him. One of the Dodgers guys is going to break out this year, Bobby Miller or Gavin Stone, we're connected to. Hunter Brown could be it. I kind of mentioned him at the start and then ignored him, but I think compared to these other guys, they've showed a little more. And Grayson, Yuri, Espino's supposed to be the next Guardians guy. Let's see what he's about. Are there any lefties I'm missing? Tiedeman's really young for the Blue Jays. Will he get a look? Harrison's the guy. Holy smokes. You know who the number 3 lefty pitching prospect is this year? According to MLB.com. Ken Waldichuk.
Yeah.
Ken Waldichuk, part of the Yankees Montas trade. And it is interesting that we haven't mentioned Frankie a lot. Matthew Liberatore. I'm happy with my list. Do you think there's anyone missing, Beebs?
I don't think that second list has any glaring misses. I've done some quick surveying.
I think Hunter Green or the guys we haven't seen pitch yet can burn you, but I'm okay with that.
It's, I think the only one maybe would be Josiah Gray, but we touched on him. Just
he's got to make.
It would have to be a full good year, like we said about a couple guys.
I saw someone mention Ion Anderson. He was gonna be on the list. He had a pretty tough last year. 22 starts, a 5 ERA. Freddie Peralta with the Brewers. Does that need a double look? He's 26 now. I think the windows and the rules we've made, he just misses. Off of his 21 season, he definitely had an argument. He took a little step back last year, injury too. Ion did get optioned last year. So, all right.
I think that's some funny business. Like, they don't need the 5th starter. I saw that coming from their reporters.
Call up Kyle Wright. Win the 98 Cy Young. So, top 5, 26 and under pitchers. Bonafide, Urias, McClanahan, Strider, Manoah, Javier. I think your the next list, who's next to break out and be on that list. I think it's Kirby. I think it's Hunter Green, Lodolo, Luzardo, and Reed Detmers from your Halos. So the Halos get a little love in the end. It's exciting. Although, I think might have a chance to be bitten by Sandoval. I like him. His start against the U.S., I saw him have a start against the Yankees. Lefty pitcher, what he's about. It's kind of a pissant. But I'll allow myself to be burnt by that. And Seattle will be a little mad at me for multiple reasons. And mostly, I'm sorry, Tristan McKenzie. And Logan Webb. That's bad.
Yeah.
That's bad.
That first list is hard to crack.
Can you move Strider? No. I mean, like, Strider doesn't deserve to be compared to Hunter Green, Nick Lodolo.
If we didn't include him,
Reed Dittmers.
If we didn't include Strider on the first list, he just feels like he's not on the second.
He's unfair on the second list. So, hey, them's the rules. We make them up as we go. Comment below how mad you are about it. And let us know if there's anything else or anyone else we missed. Yeah. I don't think so. I mean,
I'm sure somebody, but I think we did a good job.
Do the Cardinals have any Devil Magic guys on the way? No. Jack Flaherty's 27.
Yep.
If I didn't mention him with that list, Giolito has aged up. Yeah, there's a couple other. Rowanzi Contreras has, if he has a big year, he has entered the chat. But I'm willing to be okay with that. Red Sox fans probably want a Brian Bayo shout out. They always do. Is he hurt?
Ooh, I have no idea. I haven't heard a thing about him.
Forearm tightness on Fangraphs for Brian Bayo.
Ooh. He does deserve a shout out.
He
should be a candidate for that second list.
If he clicks, he would be on the list the next year, but we got some work to do. Kopech turns 27 this year. Minnesota, I mentioned Joe Ryan's their young guy. Detroit, a couple of their young pitchers. Brady Singer is turning 27, I believe, or is he 26?
I think he's turning.
He's 26 and a half. He's turned 27, so he's out. We'll see who breaks out from Oakland. Tampa's always got something weird up their sleeve. Luis Patino's still really young. And I wonder if any of the Rangers young guys, I wonder if we end up talking about Jack Leiter or Kumar Rocker. I wonder if they can enter the scene this year. But
yeah,
we'll have to we'll let it play out. Dustin May has an argument. Let's see him this year. Let's see him this year. Someone on the Dodgers will be on this list next year. I can promise you. Promise you. So, thank you guys. We love you. Go baseball. Go sports. A lot happening in football.
Yeah,
might have to bring in Panic next week or something like that. Hopefully Rodgers actually happens. I know everyone's hoping for that.
I think it's supposed to be by the time this gets out.
It's done and it's not done. So, all right, guys. Love you. Reviews and comments and stuff and love.
Subscribe.